Good afternoon, friends and traders. Welcome to the market recap. I am Dan Hodgman. It is Thursday, March 11th. I hope you guys have all had a good day. The rollover's on. The grind was a little higher. We're seeing some of them spill over a little bit today. Crude oil back on the tear. Gold. There's not a whole lot to say about gold. Talk about chop fest there. We saw the euro kind of bounce almost off a settlement price. Didn't make it all the way down there. And we got a little bit of a bounce in the 10-year note right off of settles around lunchtime. But other than that, it was a pretty choppy market there too. But all around, some good opportunity. I hope you guys have all had a good day. We have been mentioning it. Hogue mentioned it this morning. We've actually chatted about it in that Discord channel over there a little bit today. Rollovers going on. And there's a great question from Tanya that I want to touch on before we get too deep into the weeds here, as they say. So the question basically, how does one actually roll a position forward? The mechanics of it. I mean, are you actually selling out of a long in the current month and buying to open in the next month, or is there more nuance to it than that? Well, that is one simple way of doing it. Have the two domes up, sell one here, buy one here. Majority are not doing that. There is also an option to open up a calendar spread. Right now, the S&P looks like June is 9.25 ticks lower. So you have an actual spread, calendar spread. That's what a lot of people are using to roll. So if they're trying to move into that June contract, they are able to use this spread to sell one, buy one, and roll it over. So you do have a couple different locations you can do it. A lot of times, historically, for me, the roll usually, let's just say I was long 200 bonds, right? Carrying a position. We had a big position on. Our position was 200 bonds long. We would do the determining factor. So our bonds, when expired, would be cash settled. So we didn't really want to carry bonds. We allowed our options to expire because our options then rolled into bonds. So basically, we would spend probably a week working an order over on the spread, and we would take probably a week to roll that 200 contract from 1 month to the next. It's a pretty slow market. It tends to take some time. So that roll will continue here throughout the next couple of days into next week, hands down. So there's a lot that's involved into rolling over. Does that spread give any indication of movement in the coming days? Truthfully, I'll look at it. I kind of mentioned it today in the Discord. When you start to see things stalling out, I'm just looking at what kind of size was on there and a tick off the bid and offer. So one tick up and one tick down from the bid and offer. We had 37,000 contracts being worked. And that might slow things down just from the perspective of that's what people are watching right now. That's kind of the focus is let's get this position moved. I really don't care about the overall direction. I mean, we just saw President Biden did sign the stimulus package. We did get notification that $1,400 stimulus checks are going out this week. Truthfully, I would have expected to see a bigger pop in the equity markets from that, and I think everyone's just kind of focused on this roll a little bit right now. So there are a lot of nuances included in it. Everyone is doing it completely different. But majority of the time, it's not manually selling one in 1 month and then going to buy one in another month. But 99% of the time from any traders that I know that are rolling these positions, unless it's a small, you're trying to carry one. If they're rolling a position, they have pretty large sizing on, and they're using a calendar spread to do that. If it's one or two, then hey, you can quickly do that and maybe pick up a tick. But I can't imagine if you're rolling a position from 1 month to the next, a tick makes a difference, right? All right. So like I said, President Biden did sign the COVID relief bill. So that's going out today. And like they said, like I just mentioned, stimulus checks could possibly be hitting bank accounts this weekend. that's kind of our major news right now. S&P jumps that 1% to a record high. NASDAQ up 2.5%. Our Tesla stock's back up a little bit here today. We saw the $700 pop. We're in some money on our other buys that we talk about every day. So at this point, let's go ahead and take a look at these charts, see what some of this opportunity was here today, because I think there were definitely some good opportunities. I liked crude oil. We pulled right down to a prior swing low from the overnight session, almost down to that overnight low. And man, did I like it. Great chance based off of a price that we've been talking about a little bit here the last few days. So let's go ahead and take a look at these charts and see what we got going on. Like I said, we're always starting here in the S&P or in the crude oil market. And so when a market is moving in a direction and we start to notice we're making higher lows, those are areas I like to keep an eye on. And now I've talked to you guys in the past. I use VWAP with a 2 standard deviation off of it. I don't keep that on these charts. It's on my personal charts. And that deviation that was right down here at 64.74. Yesterday in the Discord we were talking about 64.80. So to me, that 64.80 is a price I've watched. Not too far off, or excuse me, right at yesterday's regular trading hour high. Keep that in mind. So to me, that created a great opportunity off the open here. We broke down a little bit. I can hop into a trade here and manage that risk. Keep my stops relatively tight. And truthfully, my range today was 65.55 right down to 64.80. That was just the range that I was looking at. So when I was able to get that long there, it's really run it up and get out at that 50 mark. I wasn't looking for it to continue to extend higher and continue to press. I like 50. I wasn't really looking past that. We've had a couple chances up above that this week, but really not a whole lot has held up above 50. So to me, that was my out. I'm not trying to sit in this thing for another 70 cents. I know it's possible. It continued up. But again, it's all about managing expectations, keeping things simple, and not pressing our luck too much. Next, let's go ahead and look at the S&P 500. Which strong open. We opened up above 3,900. Oh, Surrey's going off on my watch here. We opened up last night up above 3,900. We've shown that acceptance. Multiple candlesticks on that 4-hour chart, which is what I've told you guys that I'm using for a lot of my high time frame acceptance. 3,900 is a high time frame level that I'll be watching, that I need to see acceptance up above for continuation to keep going. We opened up this morning and really made no attempt at that overnight low or directional move back to settlement price. We knew that stimulus bill was going to be on President Biden's desk here today. Hey, that's some good thought. We might see this thing bid itself up. And the bill got signed a little bit ago. We're seeing a little bit of a sell-off. We've made those new highs. We're going to bring it back a little bit. We are not too far off that big fat 4,000 mark here in the S&P. I got a feeling a lot of people are going to be watching that price. I'm not thinking it's just going to run right there tonight and tomorrow. But as we continue grinding higher, there's going to be a lot of action as we approach 4,000. So I can't stress enough. Continue to keep an eye on that one. Next, let's go ahead and look at the good old NASDAQ, which had another nice day here today. Up currently 2.5%. Big overnight move. And off the open. A little bit of chop right off the open. And from there, we continued in that directional move. This market has shown for the majority of this week a lot of strength to the upside. Buyers are happy. Remember, we're talking about that idea of inflation. Yields calming down. Money moving back into tech. It's going to allow this market to continue to grind higher. Next, let's look at the gold. So like I said, since John spoke this morning, there's not a whole lot to say. Gold floated settlement price. I'm going to leave it at that. This is a choppy day and not a whole lot of range. If you were trading it, I hope you had a good day here and you kept things extremely tight and were quick to get out of those losers. Euro opened up, started to break down, came to overnight consolidation, didn't even make it to settle. This is the second time this week we've had one of these markets work right towards settlement and just fall short, or in this case, a little high. But from there, huge pop to the upside, which makes sense. Stimulus is coming out. More money, more U.S. dollars. The U.S. dollar is going to take a hit. It's going to send this market a little bit higher. And we grinded higher all day long after the initial big pop. We did have a couple pullbacks. The one I know most notable was around 11:30 here today. We saw weakness coming in a market that has been directional for 1, 2, 3 into 4 days right now. We continued this grind higher here all week. All right, lastly, 10-year note. Like I said, we saw a little bit of a pop off a settlement price this afternoon. We broke down, though. Here was the initial move. We double topped in the overnight session off consolidation. I'm not going to be looking all the way up here, but I'm going to be looking where a little bit more volume happens to be, and that's right here at 32.29.5. Market broke down and retraced right to settlement price. So tougher move to catch if you missed that one. The next one was tough. I thought maybe when we saw the consolidation rejection at last night's consolidation right here around 32.20, maybe we would get that to see this market rotate back over to settlement price. Never made it back down. And again, fairly tight ranges here. All right, I see some questions coming in here. Let's take a look at all that stuff. I do also want to say hello to everyone. Bulldozer, good to see you. I hope you had a great day as well. Felix, Nathaniel, Tanya, the real one, Magnum. By the way, if you haven't seen Magnum's interview, go check it out as he sits in his tractor talking about trading on a cell phone. One of the more fun conversations I've had in some time. James, good to see you. Bulldozer, does that spread give away? We touched on that one. Sean, Josh, Tanya, stimulus built me a greenhouse and added to my trading account in 2020. I'll take it. Hey, can't argue with that, right? Bill, good to see you. Tanya sent me something the other night about this cough. I am almost a month away completely from COVID, and yet I still have the cough. Apparently, a lot of people are reporting that the cough holds on for 60 days. So we got another month of me dealing with this cough. Hopefully we can all get through it. The real one question, do only companies move the futures, or do contract traded are the responsible for the futures price? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. Do only companies move the futures, or the contract traded are the responsible for the futures price? I mean, futures price is indicated based off of market action. During rollover, you're just not as focused. Your job is to roll your position. That's your job during that time. Obviously, you're still managing positions. You're still trading, but you're also doing the roll. And a lot of times I was a small fry. There were some big fries that were doing thousands of contracts trying to roll them into the next month because they have to maintain their positions, their deltas. They got to maintain hedged. They've got to continue to carry these positions. So you're just trying to really focus on that spread price to make sure you're not losing on the roll. Felix, I believe that he refers to the companies in the indices. Well, we're looking at a future. So if you're looking at the stock itself and that company, those stocks don't expire. There is no rollover. Oh, I see what you're saying. What moves the futures? Is it the companies like Tesla, Apple? Well, absolutely. So there's a weighting scale for each and every company. Each and every company has a different effect that's into these. So let's just look at the Dow 30. Each one of those 30 companies has a different weight that helps determine the price of the Dow itself. But the Dow itself is also, so like if Salesforce or a major company within the Dow takes a massive hit, it's dependent on the weight and how the people are going to react to that. Obviously, there are a lot of things that influence these prices when it comes to the futures. But companies are weighted differently within a lot of these. So something like Tesla, when Tesla takes the hit, so does the indice. People are watching that because it's a telltale sign. So the company, the public company, if that takes a hit, if it's a major company like Facebook or Apple and they take a major hit, Well, that's going to frighten people, and that's going to accelerate selling. It's going to ignite something, and then people will start to notice if that's dropping, it's going to accelerate. They're going to start jumping in on the shorts and saying, hey, market's going to go. Let's jump in on the shorts until that market finds a bottom. Yeah, so it's really comes down to just a combination. Dan, you mentioned that volume was one of the indicators that you watch. Is the volume bar red and green on balanced volume or others in a Four Amigos section? I think you're taking Coach's Playbook there, Lee. Yeah, so volume, there's a bunch of different volume, right? Different ways of looking at it. There is time-based, and then there's price-based. Time-based is kind of on the bottom there. I like that to see when volume's coming in and when it's not. And then I use volume over on the price base, which is volume profile. There's also market profile, slightly similar, but market profile is going to be a little bit more time, but show the profile, right? Where volume profile is going to be price based. And so that to me is a major indicator. I really like to see where the volume is at what prices to look for some opportunity. And then when you're looking at our charts here, we have a green line. That green line is going to be point of control, and the two extreme red lines, the bright red lines, those are value area high, value area low, and that is based off of where the 70% of the volume takes place during that selected period. Kevin, good to see you. Rocky. All right, let's see here. Magnum gives me hope. I am struggling on the computer, and he's pulling it off on a cell phone. No reason I can't get better. I like that mentality. You know, Bulldozer, it makes me think that you're trading in some sort of tractor right now, too, with that name. Awesome, Tanya. Our opinions of those companies and their future value as expressed in the futures transaction. Well said there. All right, what else do we have going on here today? Well, we touched on news. I think the big conversation right now is stimulus. That's a big deal. Bitcoin, we're up a little bit more, $58,215 in Airbnb. We got a nice little pop here today, up $197.87. Rates relatively quiet here today. 10-year note still 1.5. Tesla floating that $700 mark. We're $699.60 right now. The VIX continues to stay pretty quiet, just floating above 21. We are 21.9 right now. GameStop holding on, less volatile here today. $260 a share, unbelievable. All right, and tomorrow, PPI 7:30 a.m. Central Time, consumer sentiment 9 a.m. Central Time, and that's going to be tomorrow. All right, lastly, we are at the 1-year mark of COVID being a national pandemic. I thought I had one more. Yes. Actually, I had two. This day, 1989, Cops made its TV debut. And then lastly, we were talking yesterday about everything going on in London or in the UK with that whole royal issue there. In 1997, Paul McCartney got knighted. That's what I got for us here today. Hoagland, good to see you. On that note, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign on out. John will be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central Time. And if I don't see you guys, have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing everyone in the Discord. I'll let you guys get going. So everybody stay safe, wash your hands, trade smart, trade well. I look forward to seeing you guys in the markets. Take care.